Is WoW still the MMO king? Um, I would say yes, just because when you say MMO, most people just think World of Warcraft. So I don't think it's like the best MMO, like by any means. But in terms of just like being known and like the what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe the player base. I don't know. They haven't really released the numbers, but I'm assuming WoW is still like up there. Um, I think Final Fantasy, like in terms of like which ones I personally think are like the best, it's probably like Final Fantasy 14. But yeah, I think most people just still know WoW as like the MMO. So let's take a look.
GOAT MMORPG. This is a video. A lot of people upvoted it on my Reddit. I'm going to watch it. Here we go.
World of Warcraft. My on again, off again, 15-year long abusive relationship with this game has really been something to witness.
He just like described like almost every WoW player who's been playing since, I would say, probably Wrath or Burning Crusade. I mean, I've been playing since vanilla, so it's basically the same thing.
And here she is, pulling me right back in with a brand new expansion called Dragonflight. It's been a little while since I played this game, but I can quite comfortably say that back in the day, World of Warcraft just had no equal. And I'm not even joking when I tell you that I had multiple opportunities to lose my virginity in high school, and I blew all of them off.
Wow.
Zach and I did the exact same thing.
I can say at least I did not do that. That's so
This girl
funny.
came over to our house. It was like 3 in the morning, and
What?
we were 16, and we were like, "Yo!" And she wanted to go out. She wants to go out driving because she stole her dad's car. And like she was super hot. We both really liked her a lot, and she had her friend there with her too. And these two girls wanted us to go out driving around with them in her dad's car, and she was like way too young to drive too. And so anyway, we're playing. We're like leveling up in what was it in Westfall. We were leveling up in Westfall, and I closed the door on her, and I was talking to Zach. I'm like, okay, so if we go out with her, and then we're doing that, we're probably not going to be home until at least like 4, right? And then if we go and we play at 4 until like 6, and the sun comes up, and then we sleep for like 3 hours, like there's
Damn.
literally no fucking way we're going to make it to Dead Mines tonight if we go with her. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, it's just, bro, like, I don't fucking, that's not going to happen.
What?
And so I opened the door
That's
like,
so
yeah,
funny.
mom said we can't go. Sorry, bitch. Later. Close the fucking door. We listen to Dragon Force and land the fuck out all night long.
Are
and
you
you know what? We
serious?
did do Dead Mines. It was fucking great.
Oh, I was muted. So I never did exactly that. Like it for me, it's like when people want to go out and do stuff. I usually just like, okay, well, let me finish what I'm doing and we'll go out. Um, but I still remember one memory that just I'll probably always remember is my friend at the time. He brought his like girlfriend over, or not even girlfriend. They were just friends at that time. They hooked up later, but she was like really really hot, and I remember my friend not telling me he was coming over, like no text. Oh, text really wasn't that big, but we did have cell phones, so he could have called me. And I was in my underwear, like playing World of Warcraft, just leveling. I think it was when Wrath came out. I could be wrong, but I was just like no life in it. Didn't shave. And back then I did have like a bit of like I grew a beard pretty early in life. Um, I looked like this crazy homeless person, like in his underwear. And I remember when they walked in, like he's like, "Oh, what the hell?" I'm just like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Because I remember seeing her face and like her face like just freaking going big old like wide and stuff. Because back then I was like known as like a tough person, like not tough person. Like I got in fights like a lot, so it's like people in my school know me as like the guy who would fight people. So it's you would not expect someone like that to be in his underwear just playing on the computer. Like, oh man, that was just it was bad. Like I was so mad at my friend. I was like, how could you not tell me you were bringing someone over? Like I didn't care if he saw me. It's whatever. But like you're gonna bring over a hot girl and not tell me to like, hey, you might want to not look like a crazy homeless person. Like
just to get a few extra hours of game
Yeah.
time.
oh man.
And you want to know something interesting?
Story never happened. Ask Zach.
I don't regret it at all. I mean, sure, an
Yeah, I don't
intimate
either.
lovemaking session with someone you really care about sounds pretty good.
What
but have
the
you
heck?
ever experienced the sheer ecstasy
That's
of
funny.
topping a DPS chart? An
Yeah.
in-depth, no punches pull story that got real dark sometimes. And of course, absolutely shredding someone in PvP.
Yep.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I was in love, but that was then. And this is now. And as easy as it would be to just say that I changed as a person, that would be an outright lie. I mean, sure, we did have our rough patches, and
Yeah.
I wasn't always the most faithful player. But I also wasn't the one
Is that
who
Warhammer?
turned into a fucking gold digger. I wasn't the one who kept changing and gaslighting all the history and story we'd been through over the years.
Watch your clever mouth.
Nice lady.
Yeah,
Someone
true.
please help. Blizzard
Yeah.
removed my testicles.
And most of all, I
True.
wasn't the one stealing pregnant women's titty milk out of the break room fridge. Over the years, WoW really did me dirty. And now, like a salty ex who just can't quite let go of what she was in the past, here I am, crawling back on my hands and knees, ready to give things another shot and figure out if WoW is still the god of MMOs or just another worn out, beat up, ready to settle down, money
Damn. This guy feels away, man.
Oh my god.
What's funny is he's like actually saying it in
Oh
the funniest
my
way,
God.
but it's like a lot of players actually felt
grubbing
like this.
mess, still clinging to her old glory days. Now, it would be quite
Uh-huh.
easy to just jump right in, pretend
Oh, this guy
everything's
is
fine,
great.
like nothing bad happened in the past. But we're not idiots.
Yeah.
So let's start mending or completely shattering what's left of this relationship where everyone should start when considering an old flame, but no one does. The numbers. Let's not beat around the Elwyn Forest bushes here. WoW was never your modest, small town, low maintenance MMO. She was always walking around with some
Yeah.
real massive player counts. These
Yeah.
days, though, they're looking a little bit deflated. But context is required. That's only when comparing to her past self. The second that you start comparing to some of her competitors, you get a better idea of exactly what she's really packing. Oh, but yeah, quick side note. For all the graphs that I use in this video, I've had to pull and verify most of the data you'll be seeing here by myself over the last few months. I had to do this in
Yeah.
whatever way I could because most of the graphs and numbers that you'll see out there on the internet are just completely wrong. For instance, if you were to look at most of the numbers that you would
Oh, how'd you get him though? Because like I don't think that's accurate. I want to see how you got him. Obviously, I think that anybody with a brain can acknowledge that World of Warcraft during original Wrath of the Lich King was the peak of MMOs.
Yeah.
Final
Exactly.
Fantasy last year, Endwalker will never remotely come close to that. Neither will New World, Lost Ark, Blue Protocol.
It was also like a case of like competition. Like there just wasn't the competition that Wrath of the Lich King. Like nothing even was remotely close to the experience.
Any of these fucking games. The next game that's going to do that is going to be some fucking Sword
Riot
Art
MMO?
Online shit.
Oh.
find on these game
I think
journalists.
Riot MMO, if it's seriously like really good, not just like average, but actually really, really good, like across the board, I think it could do it. Because it already has like the numbers with their with League of Legends.
Websites, it doesn't take a genius to realize that most of these numbers have been yanked right out from between the writer's ass cheeks.
Yes.
And simply because I don't quite yet have the same levels of hubris that they do, I'm going to warn you that there is still room for error, even on my graphs. I've made them as accurate as I can, but the only ones who really know the numbers are Blizzard. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm digressing. See, the reality is that all of us, MMOs included, of fighting against the inevitable ravages of time. And there's only so many ways you can reinvent yourself before people stop caring. But for now, at least, even at its lowest, WoW has...
Is that true? I don't think so. I mean, look at Final Fantasy, for example. Final Fantasy 1, people like that one, and everybody is really highly anticipating Final Fantasy 16 30 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I see what Asmon's saying, but also, like, as someone who's, like, into Final Fantasy, you know that, like, the overall universe is kind of tied together, but not really. Like, there are different rule sets for different Final Fantasies, and completely different cast. Gameplay can be completely different. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, other than having Final Fantasy in the name, sometimes it's like a whole completely different game. It's like Warcraft 3 to World of Warcraft.
So I don't think that you will run out of people that are excited about the content as long as you have people, as long as you're making the same content.
Warhammer is also like that. Like, Warhammer's scope is just so crazy big that you can make like a dozen games on like the future Warhammer part and not even realize there's like a past Warhammer like genre, like where it's like, you know, like World of Warcraft, where it's like axes and swords and stuff like that. Well, the future ones like bolters and all those things. So
like, let me think of some other examples of this. There are plenty of things that have, you know, they've been working like fucking the Rolling Stones. Okay, these guys made music in the 60s and they're still fucking selling out massive auditoriums. They're like 90 years old or something like that. So yes, it doesn't matter, though, it's the same. As long as you're keeping it.
A lot of the people who go there, I'm pretty sure, are like just fans of them and have been fans of them for decades. Like, I don't think it's like a bunch of, like, a mainly younger crowd.
Keep giving people the stuff that
I could be wrong, though.
Or you adapt. And
maybe younger people just, you know, hear about the Rolling Stones, like I've heard about it, and you're just interested.
Evolve in a way that people like. Look at fucking Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Counter-Strike. It's the same fucking game.
Pokemon's
it's not even
a
like
very
Legend
good
of Zelda.
one to
Like,
say.
we've had some pretty big.
Because Legend of Zelda, they did at least try to change up like the art style, gameplay a bit. But Pokemon, that's basically been identical.
Big changes between Legend of Zelda 1 and Breath of the Wild. But Counter-Strike, it's the same fucking thing, basically.
Yeah.
Smash Brothers, yeah. I don't think that it will ever run out of style unless they let it happen.
Always had the player numbers to blow the dick off of every other game in the genre. So that's it, right? Case closed. WoW is definitively the best.
WoW's the best.
And every other MMO out there is just radioactive copium. Except not quite. See, player count is only one metric that helps us determine where this game is and what it's...
Also, like, you have to keep in mind that he was comparing the player count the game had at its absolute peak, not its current player count.
Yeah.
It's doing right now. The big mistake that we all tend to make, myself included, is confusing popularity with success. See, the old formula of bigger player count equals more success.
I would actually argue that with MMOs, popularity does to a certain extent mean success. Because if you don't have a lot of people that are playing the game, that means the game is not going to have as many updates.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle that will eventually kill a game. In terms of success, like in terms of like the game being able to continue, popularity does, like, probably the most important thing.
Which means that the game is going to get worse over time because it's not being updated. There's no profit incentive to update it. Also, it means that your experience in the game will probably be diminished because the amount of people the game is designed for are not playing the game. So there is a point where the amount of
it's why, like, the whole like getting marked as like a dead MMO is something that the current player base of that MMO will fight against tooth and nail. Is that will kill the MMO.
Population of the game does matter. However, I think what matters more than current population is trajectory. So, for example, World of Warcraft in Warlords of Draenor lost like 2.7 million subscribers in 1 quarter. So that was really bad. But even after it lost subscribers, it had more subscribers than most of Mists of Pandaria. But everybody would pretty much say that Warlords of Draenor was worse than Mists of Pandaria. So
I think that's only because Mists of Pandaria actually had like a really good ending to it with Lei Shen. But if you took out Lei Shen or added something that was like pretty bad, I think Mists of Pandaria would be one of my least favorite MMO expansions.
What really matters is not the current number, it's the trajectory. So for example,
that is true. Final Fantasy. Like, Final Fantasy's trajectory is just, like, way better than almost any MMO right now.
That's why people that are playing New World can feel confident and happy that their game is, you know...
Because New World's trajectory was just, like, off a cliff bad. And now it's finally rising up. It's not rising up to the way it was dropping, but at least it's going up.
Pretty much stabilizing around, like, 40 to 50,000 players with no content update in months. Because... things are stabilizing at a point where the game is at a playable mass that is continuing to enjoy it and content is continuing to be released. So, but if your game is consistently going down, big fucking surprise, people are going to stop playing it. And they're going to stop developing content for it. And then whenever they stop developing content, then you're going to have more people quit.
Yeah, and that was like, that's why I think with a lot of free-to-play games, I never really get too upset when they have like some things in their monetizations that aren't the most fair. Only because I want to assume the developer wants to make money, of course, that's obvious, but like that it's going to release more content because of it. That's why Genshin and stuff like that, like I don't really have a problem with it because I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to avoid it, but I know there's a lot of people who are going to put money into it, thus giving me more content to play. Which is a good thing for me. Like, I'm pretty selfish in that, I guess. So.
Is a bit of an outdated concept, especially when it comes to MMOs.
It's not outdated.
Outdated
for MMOs.
Put it this way. Let's say you make an MMO that has 500,000 players and pulls in $500,000 a month. That sounds pretty good. Until you realize that it's going to cost you $1 million a month to keep your game up and running. And that's not even considering initial development costs, marketing, updates, and
MMOs
future
are super expensive.
And as you can probably tell, Bobtivation Blizzard's operational costs are a lot higher. Now imagine you've got a buddy who also made an MMO, but they've only got 100,000 players and pull in $100,000 a month. Okay. But their operational costs are only $50,000 a month. Now I know this example and the numbers I'm using are very reductive, but the principle remains the same. And guess which one of you...
What he's doing is he's giving you a reason for why mobile games exist. Very high profit margins, very low overhead.
Or free-to-play games.
Not...
And why the free-to-play is becoming more popular than like subscriptions and buy-to-play like Guild Wars 2 is free-to-play games just make more money. It's proven again and again. So I mean, it's not just like on a business sense, but it's also a content sense. You got more money, you can hire more developers. That's really what it is.
Not hard to understand.
Who's likely to last longer unless something changes and fast. Worse than that, World of Warcraft isn't even alternative Balduct's biggest earner anymore. Now, whatever you might think about this cancerous tumor called Diablo Immortal,
I played
it turns
this
out
one.
Blizzard was right. People do actually have phones and very little willpower. In its short...
Who the fuck didn't think this was gonna happen?
Yeah, I think everyone who heard about it knew it was like gonna make them a lot of money, but it's also like not something you want to happen. It's just how it is. Like, I actually would prefer if they made Diablo Immortal like an actual good game, because that's the thing. It's just they're piggybacking off of the Diablo franchise. Like, if they released the game, like, they didn't call it Diablo, maybe they just called it Immortal. Like, I don't think it would have even a tenth of the success it did. So
I think people weren't mad that Diablo Immortal didn't work. They were mad because they knew it would.
Exactly.
Lifespan. Dibbles Mobile has raked in more cash than World of Warcraft has in the year of 2021. And the game is free to play, technically speaking. All I'm saying...
But Diablo Immortal doesn't have the staying power that Warcraft does either. Like, most people who spent money in Diablo Immortal are pretty much done with the game. From what I understand, like, not many people are even playing it.
Fucking money.
Is why would activate
I could
the
be
bacon,
wrong, though.
Put in all this
because I don't really
love,
pay attention to the
energy,
mobile market.
resources, time, and effort to craft something with a soul, with an epic and grandiose world and story that almost constantly is never enough for its players, when instead they can just shit out an ultra monetized, psychologically manipulative, mobile shitfest
Oh, I
that
remember
makes
this
them a
one.
whole golden boatload
Is
more.
this game good? This like Warcraft like Heroes game, is it actually good? No,
It didn't
okay.
look that fun,
Literally everybody is
unfortunately.
saying it's no. Okay. Who cares? Well, I don't know. Maybe it'd be fun.
Cash than
I would
something with
try
a soul.
it.
This hurts to say, even when I'm mad at Blizzard, but WoW's success is beginning to fade in the face of modern gaming, and it's likely no longer going to be the primary development focus for Activision Blizzard. That is, unless, at least in the short term, there's something a little bit more solid that can be.
I don't think that it should be the prime development focus for Blizzard, because World of Warcraft is built on a 2001 or 2003 engine. They need to look towards the future. It doesn't mean they should cancel the franchise or stop making expansions.
Yeah, they need to do. I'm trying to think of anyone who's actually done it right, but maybe Final Fantasy did it the best, where they just scrapped the old thing, made something completely new. And I'm not saying scrap Warcraft, but they need to start working on like basically Warcraft 2, World of Warcraft 2. That's that would, at least to me, make the most sense.
But they need to look towards the future too. That's why you have things like Overwatch. Overwatch is great.
Yeah, I think when I found out like Overwatch like was supposed to be an MMO, like it actually was disappointing because I'm like, I actually really like Overwatch's like lore and all that stuff. So
Heroes of the Storm, that was
I would
a
have definitely
miss.
played it.
Milked out of the game. Inevitably, looking
Oh,
again at
look
the
who it
numbers,
is.
in the paraphrased words of a Wendy's munching attic goblin that's far more prolific than I will ever be on the internet. One hair on a head doesn't really tell you anything, but the more hairs you look at, the better idea you have of where
Wow.
this hairline is going. And this one at least looks like it's
Damn.
receding pretty fucking quickly away
Oh,
from World of
fuck.
Warcraft.
Oh,
So the game can still be
Oh yeah, mobile market is just popping off, and it's gonna go that way for, I would say, the foreseeable future. Because one, it's like everyone has a phone to begin with, so it's they got it not for gaming, but you can use gaming for it, so it's just convenience. Not everyone has like a high-end like desktop or laptop that can play games, but they have a high-end phone. Everyone wants like the new phone, so you have access to way more people. That's pretty much it. And a lot of phone games are very casual. They're very easy. So like the barrier to entry is like very low, and they're usually free to play as well. So basically there's absolutely nothing stopping you from playing games on mobile other than like the quality of the game itself.
be considered successful, but every other game that they're churning out is starting to make them that much more cold, hard cash. For
I do not think that is an argument, however, for World of Warcraft not being continuously updated. And I will use an example of the other game that World of Warcraft is constantly... Yeah, he did get me. He absolutely fucking got me. I forgot all about that video. If a good example of an example of... Fuck, I got so distracted by that fucking comment. I forgot what I was going to say. Right. Okay, so Final Fantasy... Are you familiar with the term loss leader? Loss leader means that a company sells a product at a loss in order to get people into a store and make them buy other things.
Oh yeah.
I would argue that Blizzard could still
Casinos
use
do that
World
all
of
the time.
Warcraft as a loss leader in the same way that I think Square Enix uses Final Fantasy XIV. Because Square Enix does a lot of absolutely shady things.
Like with casinos, like a lot of times they'll have you sign up for like a card kind of thing, like a credit card, but like a rewards card, and they'll send you like free buffet stuff, like, or free movie tickets or discounted movie tickets, stuff like that, just to get you into the building, so that like maybe after whatever you came in there, you'll stop by a slot machine.
Nobody's talking about the fact that Square Enix has doubled down
Oh, they'll give you free shirts, free mugs, champagne, like stuff like that.
3 separate times on NFT.
Like casinos are like not doing that out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it to get you into the casino so that maybe you'll gamble.
And having blockchain stuff in their fucking games. Nobody talks about this anymore. Nobody cares because Final Fantasy 14 is really good. So
with what he's talking about, I mean, I do agree. Like, it's how WoW was, to be honest. Like, not really. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, Final Fantasy is like, it really is weird that they're like literally carrying the freaking company. Because if you took them out, like, all their other games are like really doing badly. So it's like, it's just funny.
you want to have a good game. That way, whenever people get mad at the bad games, you can be like, yeah, but we got the good game. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that this means they're going to stop developing Warcraft at all. Because you use Warcraft as the loss leader to get people in the door, and then you get them in Diablo Immortal.
Or Hearthstone.
And then they spend all their money. So it's World of Warcraft is a gateway drug. Just like all the Fox News segments said, it turned out to be true.
Yeah, World of Warcraft bled into the Diablo franchise, making that way popular. And then, of course, the Diablo franchise made Diablo Immortal, like, as popular as it is.
Way less effort. Over the years, activist Be Censored has proven that what matters more than any game they make is money. They will do whatever they need to, put whatever object in whatever orifice they have to not lose market share. And that means caring way less about what your long-term players think and feel,
the Pyro
and more
meltdown.
about the monetizable trends of the unwashed gaming masses. This kind of mindset means you're trying to...
my video watching that has like 2 million views? It's
Jeez.
crazy.
Probably
Final
more
Fantasy
than the original
directors know
video.
that those directors completely against it. But do you see what I'm saying though? How Final Fantasy can not have any of that bad stuff, but Final Fantasy can still be used as something that builds Square Enix's brand, so they can afford to lose brand points in other areas.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get them to
like a
spend as much
charity
money
donation.
as possible on whatever product you're pushing, complete or not? And guess what? Complain all you want, but so far it's working out for them pretty fucking great. Put bluntly, if phone games like Diablo Immortal keep posting profits like this, nothing you say has any value to them, because
That's true, and I would apply that to pretty much every single company because they care about money.
transactions speak
Your
louder
wallet's always going to speak louder than your words.
than words. They have zero incentive.
Transactions speak louder than YouTube comments is a better it's a better way to put it into perspective.
That's
true.
true.
What it really does.
To not double down and dedicate more resources to what they would now consider to be the future of gaming. But of course, that's
It makes
just the
sense though,
numbers.
because I
And
think
I'm
it is,
just a
to
hater.
a degree
All
it
of what I've
is.
said so far is about the past or the future, not about the present. And I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I didn't title this video
Or at least it's like too big of a market to ignore if you're a video game company. Like, it doesn't make sense you would completely ignore the mobile market.
where WoW is going to be in 5 years or where it was 5 years.
Oh, I've done this one. Yeah, I do this about every week. Yeah, look at this. Well, holy shit, look at this. Yeah, I know this.
Years in the past. So let's take a look at
How
the
unique.
current gameplay instead.
Okay, let's
Because
take a look
what
at it.
we all really care about as MMO gamers is what she feels like when we're inside of her. I'm going to be shocked if there's any monetization on this video by the time I'm done here. So currently, WoW is experiencing what some would call a returning golden age. Classic is in its wrath phase, and the Dragonflight expansion looks pretty amazing. They even gave us Blue Kael'thas.
And to be fair, I really think that the character modeling, the cinematics, the in-game cinematics
It's much
in
better.
Dragonflight, I said it on release, I'll say it again, they are fucking incredible. They have more detail, more emotion.
Yeah, just the expression range that they've been able to put out is just far and beyond anything prior.
And more work put into them than we've ever had before. I love it. I hope they keep doing it. And the stories were pretty good too.
Yeah, a lot of the side quests I did like. I think overall though, I haven't been too invested in the story with Dragonflight. Like it's just, I think it's because the enemies look dumb, but it's probably just me. Like proto drakes look
Everyone
dumb.
and their grandmother who moved to Thailand is raving about how good the game is right now. And they're not wrong. This expansion is super fun, despite the prior presence
definitely.
of a certain rotting elf corpse that's been ruining the story over the past few years. WoW is beginning to show that old spark of wonder once again, with gameplay and complexity in all the right places, like the talent tree, the new flying mechanics that they yanked right out of Guild Wars 2, and even how you experience the leveling.
Nothing wrong with that.
This makes the game at least twice as enjoyable as it was before. There's plenty good to talk about here in retail WoW right now. From the new
Yes, I would say that retail WoW is good right now.
I would say it's average. I wouldn't say it's like that amazing, but it's definitely better than what it used to be. I actually don't really like the dragon class. I don't like how you can't really see all like the armor and stuff that your character normally has in dragon form. And the problem, I wouldn't really mind that if I can keep my human form, but you can't. Like it automatically puts you in your dragon form when you do abilities. And that's just dumb. For a game that's like about cosmetics, or can be.
It is fun to play. I do think that there are some problems fundamentally with some of the end game systems. The game has to work through them. I hope it does in the next expansion or so. But it's good. It's good. You don't have to play it right now, and you're not going to get behind.
I would definitely recommend, like, if you haven't played it, to just wait a bit longer, just to see how, like, a few more patches come out, especially how the trading post, how that's kind of received. Just because it's like, it's not like doing anything right now, you can't catch up, so.
But you can if you want to, and I think that's fucking great. Mythic Plus stale is 2 weeks old bread, though? Well, then don't do it. Is Dragonflight better than Legion? In a lot of ways, Dragonflight is better than Legion.
Yeah, I just don't think it's as cool. Like, just plain old. It's not, you don't get, like, the artifact weapons, which were, like, obviously, like, borrowed power may not have been, like, a good choice here, but I think everyone universally really liked the artifact weapons. They were really, really cool, so.
In other ways, Dragonflight is not better than Legion. Like, for example, if you were a high-end raider, I think that you probably enjoyed Dragonflight. You probably enjoyed Dragonflight more than Legion, because Legion basically made you feel like you were a sweatshop worker. As a casual player, I could see somebody still enjoying Legion more. And also, Legion was such a massive step up in quality in like 2016, 17, whenever it came out, that it was so much better than what we had any other expansion before that, that it was proportionally that much more impressive at the time.
Exactly.
Class, to the cool-looking dragons, to the far higher levels of custom.
All I'm saying is that people remember the last half of Legion. The first half was terrible.
Customizability in playstyle, UI, and character. Even the professions seem to be relevant again. But with all that complimenting, I just can't help but want to crap in everyone's morning cornflakes. The big problem we're still facing is that Blizzard is still Blizzard. No matter how good the current WoW expansion is, they've still fucked up over and over again. They've ruined their players' trust and taken a hot, steamy dump in their eyeballs after promising nothing but the purest of epic fantasy. They've lost a lot of trust over the last few years.
The jailer was like,
both with in-game and
what they do with
IRL
Sylvanas, just Shadowlands is overall terrible.
Business perspective, it might not even be worth it for them to climb that mountain instead of just refocusing their efforts on another game or somewhere else entirely. Now, putting aside the IRL Blizzard.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think that Blizzard can continue to use World of Warcraft as an IP to push other things in like their mobile universes that will cause them to make even more money. So effectively, like, again, World of Warcraft might not have the best profit overhead, but it's a legacy game. It's something that like establishes like who Blizzard is, what Blizzard is, like Hearthstone, right? Like World of Warcraft enabled Hearthstone to exist. It enabled part of Heroes of the Storm to exist. So I do think that World of Warcraft will continue to be developed because...
And who's to say, like, they've they're not going to release other like mini games based on the World of Warcraft like lore, so or world.
It allows them to generate and create a world that they can monetize in other ways. And also, they monetize the fuck out of World of Warcraft. You have to pay to play the fucking game. You can buy gold, you can buy WoW tokens, you can buy store mounts, you can buy level boosts, you can buy pets. They're making a lot of fucking money.
Problems for a second and just focusing on the game. What happens after Dragonflight? Do we go through the same cycle of the next expansion being utter dog shit before they learn their lesson again and release something decent but to even less fanfare than before because they've lost it?
This is my favorite one right here.
I remember this
right
meme.
here, bro. That's really the way it felt like too. I love this meme. Yeah, exactly.
That was a really cool meme.
The meme timeline, yeah.
Another group of players. Who knows? Maybe this.
I haven't seen this one. Oh my god. The corruption over his face. The fucking heart of Azeroth. And then this one here, we got fucking, what is this, like Soul Senders, Soul fucking Emperors, Korthia fucking a carrot on his stick, and the carrot's broken, and he's in chains. Oh no.
This is a new era for them. Then there's that missing feeling of novelty that WoW used to have. Don't confuse what I'm saying with nostalgia here. I'm talking about that unique experience, that thing that sticks with you. That one effect or graphic from a video game that's just imprinted onto your neurons forever. And if you still don't quite understand what I'm talking about when I say novelty, let's take a look at some other games. New World might have been a buggy mess at launch, but its sound design always stood out as incredible. RuneScape might not have the graphics, but it had its crafting systems and its atmospheric music.
The quest seemed pretty good in
had its flight systems. Guild Wars 2 had its NPC interactions and landscapes. You know, even Mortal Online 2 has something just floppily memorable about it. Maybe it's just me here, but modern WoW just doesn't have those standout features anymore. It all feels so
Mortal 2, I only know about it with the PvP.
I think that World of Warcraft's standout features right now are its in-game systems. Like, the people that are going to be diehard WoW fans right now are either super casuals or hardcore players.
Yeah.
Raid content, arena, and Mythic Plus.
Yep.
Standardized, so risk-free. Firing a
Which
gun
is funny because I
no
prefer
longer
BGs
sounds
over
like
arena.
you just took a quick drive through Chicago. Earning a mount just doesn't have the same appeal when you can buy all the better-looking ones off of the in-game store for real money. I could really go on forever about this. Back in the day, WoW was an innovator and a trendsetter. Almost everything it did left an impression on you. From the sound design, to the story, to the mechanics, to the atmosphere, to the neat little tricks that you would have to specifically learn to become a true master of whatever class you chose to main. But even after playing Dragonflight, the only thing that really sticks out to me is watching Wrathion, the rightful heir and child of Neltharion,
cower like a little bitch. Please fucking show
who was the most badass dragon WoW has ever seen.
True.
Getting fucking defeated
by a rock.
By a stray piece of debris. You know,
pathetic.
The very element his aspect is supposed to be in control of.
And it was so fucking pathetic. It was. And I feel like they only did all of this to make Wrathion seem less cool. Because in my opinion, like, yeah, Rathion's had some L's, like, you know, getting everybody killed in Warlords of Draenor, and, you know, that was kind of a bad call. But the thing is that at the end of the day, it worked. So, like,
at the end of the day, the world is not destroyed.
Every play doesn't work, but it certainly is a play. Yeah, I went civilian after that. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, I think that they just made him I think they made him more unlikable in Dragonflight on purpose to make the other Black Dragonflight leaders seem more equivalent. That's my opinion. Civilian should be the aspect. No, he shouldn't. Like, what the fuck did he do? He didn't do anything.
Yeah, they should have had more story about Civilian.
The foundation of the game still leans on some incredibly archaic
obviously Wrathion is just like too volatile to be
no matter how
leader,
much they're updated.
but-
You see, usually, in order to attract as broad an audience as possible, a game is designed to have an easy learning curve and a high skill ceiling. World of Warcraft accomplishes this by slowly feeding you more abilities as you level up and getting you comfortable with their multiple gameplay mechanics, giving you more options in playstyle as you grow as a player. But one of the problems is the leveling experience is now pretty compressed from what I can tell, and they shit buttons out at you at a fairly rapid pace. And if
I think that there probably could be too many buttons in WoW.
There definitely
I
is.
would indulge an idea that that is probably the case. Because it's like you compare, I don't know, like New World or, New World is super fucking simple. It's probably too simple. Like Lost Ark, you've got 8 abilities, maybe 9 if you count the Awakening, maybe 10 if you have like Mayhem, Berserker, or something like that. Very few.
I also think Lost Ark has
that's it.
kind of a lot.
It would be
Some of the
nice
classes,
if
like, more
WoW
than
was able
others.
to cut down on a few more abilities, but I don't want to see that happen in a lot of ways because it's like last time that happened, it just made the game a lot worse.
That's true.
unwilling to go out of your way to try customize your UI and control experience through the settings menu and several add-ons, there's plenty that just feels lackluster when compared to the control schemes of newer MMOs. This might be a difficult thing to do, but I don't want you to think about yourself when I'm talking about this.
Okay.
Because if you somehow stumbled across my garbage channel, it's very likely that you're very invested into MMOs, or you're just a veteran of the space.
Yes.
But take a moment to consider your brand new MMO player who's never played
There you
one
go,
of these
there you
games
go.
before.
Beat the fucking
Imagine
shit
what
out of
it
me.
looks
There you
like on
go.
gameplay for
Good.
the first
I
time.
don't think I've ever
Trying
seen
to
that one.
figure
Kids are
out
gonna be all
which one
right.
of these MMOs is going to suit them best. Do you think they're more likely to
Which MMO is going to suit a kid best? I'll tell you which MMO. It's the MMO called Fortnite. Kids aren't playing MMOs. They take too fucking long. And kids didn't play MMOs back then either, usually. Like, most people started World of Warcraft whenever they were, like, 13
Late teens.
to 18.
Mid to late teens, yeah.
Like, I think many people started World of Warcraft, like, at 13 to 18. I was 19, yeah, somewhere around there. Like, I don't think you had a lot of 7-year-olds playing WoW. Now, there were absolutely 7-year-olds playing WoW, but I think that there were also a lot of older people doing that too.
Yeah.
understand what's going on here?
How the fuck did that miss?
Need
Or
to
here.
break. Get ready to break it.
Oh my god.
Make sure you guys are also doing the
The simple fact is that WoW is currently having trouble attracting new players and a younger audience. And worse than that, if they simplified WoW like they've tried to in the past, they'd still have a hard time attracting new MMO gamers while now losing their old players too.
Well, they have to make a new game. Like, if you want to actually make WoW good again, you have to make a new game. But they have to either do that or reinvent the game in Classic WoW or like a Classic Plus situation like OSRS. Because like you can't have wars in World of Warcraft, because if you do, everybody lags out. It's insane.
Yeah.
The engine sucks. The fucking graphics suck. It's just outdated. It's still a good game. We still play RuneScape.
Like, it'd be really cool, like, if they just announced it, like, okay, we're still going to try to release content for the current WoW, but we are in-house working on, like, World of Warcraft 2. Like, that, I think most people are like, awesome. Like, that should have been happening, like, a while now.
I think Final Fantasy is kind of outdated, too, to be honest.
It's almost to the point, like, I think they should have done that with, like, Legion being almost the last expansion for World of Warcraft. And then after that, moving on to World of Warcraft 2. I mean, obviously, BFA and Shadowlands would have killed it, but
It's not like it's...
it would make sense because, like, the Legion was, like, the main enemy for so long. The old gods as well, to a degree. But not as much as, like, the Legion, in my opinion.
this perfect, amazing fucking game, though. Like, it's not next gen. It's not going to catch people by surprise. People might not remember this, but, like, whenever World of Warcraft came out, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
It was like you're comparing, like, even like the other games like 2004, like, so you're thinking like Half-Life 2, Halo 2. I think if you go back and you play World of Warcraft Classic, Classic WoW holds up better than both of those in terms of graphics.
Would you
Yes,
say
I would agree.
right now is the most exciting and interesting part of World of Warcraft, whether you're looking at classic or retail? It's the latest expansion, right? Well, to get there and experience that new, shiny, exciting content that everyone is touching themselves over, you're gonna have to drag yourself through 60 levels of an experience that just might not feel worth your time or effort when all you want to do is ride some dragons.
True.
And since WoW has so many
Very
expansions
true.
and stories stacked up on top of one another, it's quite the
I find it to be impressive. I think they've made Alexstrasza hotter. And it is impressive that Blizzard has managed to make her more, like, have her wear more clothes and also make her hotter.
Yeah, they're more form-fitting, I think, than her previous stuff. But I guess, like, I'm looking at these expansions, and it's like, I really wish Warcraft, like, had an MSQ of sorts. Like, not to Final Fantasy's level, but, like, something to try to introduce you to, like, the main points of, like, each story. You know what I mean? Like, that, I think that to me would be pretty cool. Like, it takes you out to Outlands, where you can eventually defeat Illidan. Like, don't make it too long, like I said. And then Arthas, defeat Arthas. Like, obviously not have you do raids, but, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe have you just join, like, a raid, but, like, everyone else is, like, an NPC. Cataclysm, you beat Deathwing, just so you actually, like, know a little bit about, like, the world's lore. And then I don't see Shadowlands in here. They should probably just skip Shadowlands. That's not a part of Warcraft lore anymore. Just completely remove it. Don't have it there. Retcon it. They've done it before. Why not do it again?
challenges
At least do it, like, where it makes sense.
a newbie to try and untangle that mess before navigating your way through it. And
Yeah, it turns out Shadowlands was always an alternate timeline.
worse than that, the players who aren't invested and are new have almost zero reason to care about the story. And guess what?
This was a... I can't believe I did that.
That was really
I'll tell
interesting.
you all, like,
I couldn't believe you did it.
You know, I can't... Nice legs, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I've shaved them never. You were hot, to be honest.
Okay. I don't know if you wanted to hear that.
It was for charity. The worst part is that it wasn't. I did this for free.
Oh. Should have done it for charity.
But you could, as a new player, buy a boosted character, but
Yeah.
now you're gonna be lost on how to play without some external guide. And WoW to a new player is very quickly starting to look like a money sinkhole in comparison to other games. And what you're basically being told by the existing
Do it again?
community
Yeah,
is that
probably.
you're not allowed to make a judgment on the game until you've already played 20 to 30 hours, reached level 60, and then begun your...
You can make a judgment on the game. It's just like, you just can't, like, weigh in on, like, for example, you say, like, the rating sucks. You never rated. Like, that's when people have issues. You say, oh yeah, I played the game and it sucks. I couldn't even hit max level before quitting. Okay, so that's just saying you hated the leveling, which is fair. Most people, I think, would agree with you.
real in-game
It's not like the worst it's ever been, but it could definitely be better.
journey, which
I
is
think that there's two different judgments for that. I don't think that you can provide an adequate review of an MMORPG after only playing it for 20 hours. But I do think that a bad MMORPG in the first hour, I think a game should be good in hour one. What, it takes you an hour for the game to be good? What the fuck? I've got other things I need to do. I don't have time for this shit. What is this? So yeah, I think it should be immediately fucking good.
just the last 10 levels, followed by the end game where all the actual
But there's
content
two different
is.
judgments
Now
there.
that might
Two
not
different
seem all that
standards.
bad if you're your regular masochist MMO player. After all, you've been here forever already and there's no getting off this ride.
Yes,
but that's a
that's
pretty heavy time investment for your average person
This is a nice
who in
game. I
that same
like the way
time
this
span
looks.
could have completed at least 3
Kinda reminds me of
single-player games
StarCraft.
by themselves. So with all that said, with all the cards laid
Obviously
bare
not
on the
like
table before
futuristic,
us,
but like
with all my whining
Warcraft.
about how I'm just incapable of removing these
When do you get
rose-tinted
glasses on?
glasses and comparing WoW to its past self, we've still got to answer the question. Is WoW still the GOAT? And the answer is yes. See, even with Activision Blizzard's missteps over the years, they've managed to maintain something that not many other MMOs do. A core player base. And every time they see those subscription numbers start to drop, even if it's only because they care about the money, they at least try to do something.
They pretend like they care for at least like 6 months, okay? Like they'll be like, yeah, guys, we're listening. We're going to change the bad system finally. And also, so we have a new system. It's pretty much the old system, but there aren't any of the improvements, and it's coming out next week.
About it to retain players. And after playing my way as far as I can into Dragonflight, even I'm sitting here thinking,
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Despite all my bitching about the story, there are still some good, solid, well-written characters that they just haven't figured out how to disenchant yet. The fantasy of the game is still in there somewhere, and Dragonflight proves.
By the way, I never thought Varian was that cool or that interesting. I
think they didn't do enough with him. Like, you know, like his background is cooler than him. Like how he got split in half and one was like a gladiator, the other was like this weak nerd. It's like that was pretty interesting. But when he like became like the king again, he didn't really do anything cool after that I remember.
I never thought he was that great.
That. But that doesn't mean this old girl is always going to be on top. At some point, we're going to be taking her out back, letting her see the sunrise one last time before we load up that double-barreled cancel subscription button and firing away. Now, whether that happens because Activate My Almonds can simply make more money through selling predatory wallet-raping games on mobile and stops caring about WoW entirely, or because something newer that just does everything better comes along at some point.
I don't think that's gonna matter. Like, in my opinion, I think that Elden Ring does everything that Dark Souls 3 does, and it does it better. I think Elden Ring is better than Dark Souls 3 in every single way. But I would still go back and play Dark Souls 3 every once in a while. Sure.
Especially if there's a mod. Like something that has more content to it. Oh yeah.
So it doesn't mean that I'm gonna come back. I'm never gonna play it again. So yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, Classic was also a good one. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Classic Vanilla WoW was. I won't say it's the worst expansion, but I would never want to play it again, just because it's super time like wasting. It just everything feels bad about it. Like combat felt really slow. I don't know. It's just, I wouldn't want to play it, but a lot of people do. A lot of people
Boss
do.
fights?
Wrath I actually would probably play. Because Wrath at least doesn't feel like it's as bad as Vanilla.
Oh, wow. There's like 7 bosses in Dark Souls 3 that are good. What did you forget about the fucking Ancient Wyvern? What about that? Asirios, who just runs around screaming while you hit him and he doesn't do anything. There's so many bad bosses in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, it has a few good ones.
All the Dark Souls have at least a few like really bad ones.
Remains to be seen. My bet is still the same as the one I've stated before. The only thing that's going to kill World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft.
They've been trying that.
Activision Blizzard.
They did try their best in Shadowlands.
King, just remember.
No king rules forever, my son.
They've used that as a meme for a long time with Warcraft.
Hey. I think WoW, like, I mean, I was playing Warcraft 2. Like, I would sit with my mom.
As always, big thanks to all my subscribers, both old and new.
What the heck?
And a special thank to the MMO Relationship Therapy Association who get
Okay.
to watch this video before anyone else.
This was a
one in
great
particular
video.
took a
I
lot
love
more
this.
research than
I
what
hope you
ended
guys
up in the
subscribe
video
to this
at the
guy.
end.
He's really
So
funny.
Excuse me for taking so long to get to it. Anyway, more content soon.
I hope
Bye.
so. I really do. This is
Really good video.
This is such a great fucking video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. Let me go ahead and link it to you guys. Link it. Yeah, right here. There you go. The roast beef joke. Yeah, that was just fucking ready to settle down. Holy fuck, man. Oh, that was hilarious. I mean, I do think that it's kind of hard to judge, like, the game based off of its peak, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I was good into fucking back it, let me tell you, back in 2010, oh, man, I was the shit. It's like, yeah, okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed now. Yeah, it's not that big of a
Pretty
deal.
much,
Most
yeah.
important is how it feels inside her. True, true, true. And the fact is that World of Warcraft always does feel good to play. I do think PvP needs a massive amount of improvements. I think.
Yeah, I don't like how it's so focused on arena. Like I do it because it gives the best gear, but man, I'm not a big fan of arena. And I do like that they added the solo queue, but it's like you have to wait on a healer. That's just stupid. Like there should be a solo queue for 2v2s, just so even if you lose the games, at least you're not waiting freaking 20 minutes to get into a game.
Think that the way the game is designed is simply not fun for an average person. It's not fun for me. I don't like sitting in a fucking CC chain.
Exactly. That's also really annoying. That there's no real like there is diminishing returns, but usually only on like the same CC. But you can still be like literally CC locked for like 10 plus seconds. It's stupid.
It's fucking boring. It's not fun. It sucks. And I wish they would change it. However, I would say that this is a good video. And I do think that World of Warcraft probably is still probably the GOAT MMO. I would agree with that. I think that each MMO does something probably like the best. So
Yeah, I would say that. But as an overall thing, I still don't think WoW is the best. I think it's just the most well known from its previous, success, which is fair. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like overall, like take everything into account, I think Final Fantasy does beat out WoW.
like in my opinion, I think action combat is best in New World.
Action combat. I wouldn't say it's the best because it is the most solid, but it also is pretty boring, at least to me.
World has the best action combat out of any MMO. Lost Ark is the best isometric MMO, and it's not
Yeah, people are saying BDO is better action combat. I would agree with that.
even close. All of the other ones are New World.
1 second.
New World has the best action combat out of any MMO. Lost Ark is the best isometric MMO, and it's not even close.
I wouldn't agree there. Lost Ark is probably the best. In terms of like its combat, it's the best. Everything else I actually really do not like about Lost Ark. Well, no, I like the islands. But like the dailies, how the ults feel, leveling, the end game combat, like none of that is appealing to me in the slightest. It would be different if like the raids weren't like as hard, like release like an easy mode, which I know sounds like cringe, but it's like it's just too hard. It is what it is.
All of the other ones are average at best. Albion Online might be good for PvP, however.
Albion Online for PvP. I played a little bit of Albion Online and it wasn't, I don't know. I got pretty bored after like an hour.
Actually, you think BDO is better than I haven't played BDO in like 5 years, so I can't speak on that. Maybe BDO is better. I'm not sure. I would say BDO has the best character creator, however. BDO
That is true.
absolutely the best.
Oh, sorry, my cat. Get your butt off of the cat.
Fantasy probably has the best story.
What you doing, little
World
one?
of Warcraft has the best
Got my
in-game
cat here.
PvE content. Like Mythic Plus, raiding, PvP. There's a lot to do at in-game for WoW players.
That is true.
And they have a lot of really great side content too, with like mount farming, like professions, pets, transmog, like all the completionism content.
Yeah, I would say the transmog system as WoW is probably the best. So maybe that is what WoW does better than every other MMO, is the transmog, I would say. At least of the ones I've played.
As somebody who cares about this stuff, I think that World of Warcraft does it better than any other game, and it's not even remotely close. I have not played Guild Wars 2, though, so I can't really compare it to that. Elder Scrolls Online, I played like 2 or 3 days of it, that's it. Path of Exile, that's not an MMO. But yeah, this guy is fucking great, man. Like, I'll link you guys the video. You can give it a like and give him a sub if you liked it. This was such a good fucking video. I love this. Holy shit, this was amazing. I hope he makes more of them.
Yeah, it was a really interesting video. Brought up a lot of good points. Like, these kind of videos are really cool because it's just, at least to me. And of course, he was pretty funny, especially when he was talking about WoW as if it was like an actual girlfriend and like gaslighting him and stuff. Like, that was actually really on point.